Well, hello and a very warm welcome to Daily Dispatch, a show that gives you all the latest news and updates from the digital ecosystem. I'm Priya Sheikh. Thank you so much for tuning in. Time now to get you all the top news stories that we've been tracking this evening. Well, moving on to the first and the biggest headline of the day, Amazon's founder Jeff Bezos, who has been the CEO since 1995, has announced plans to step down from his role later this year. He will transition to the role of an executive chairman, and Andy Jassy, a long-time Amazon veteran and the current cloud computing chief, will take over as CEO in the third quarter of this year. Well, healthcare solutions firm Indegene is all set to raise $200 million from US-based investment firms Carlyle Group and Brighton Park Capital. Now, the funds will be used to accelerate the pace of acquisition as well as drive global expansion plans. Well, moving on to the third headline of the day, Tata Consumer Products has agreed to acquire impact investment firm Avishkar Venture Management backed startup Kotaram Agro Foods for $21 million. Now, Kotaram Agro Foods makes breakfast cereals under the brand Soulfull. Well, manufacturing platform Zetwork has raised $120 million in a Series D funding led by Green Oaks Capital and Lightspeed Venture Partners. The startup will be using this funding to help customers translate their digital designs into physical products through access to SME manufacturing facilities. Now, do remember that Zetwork had last raised about $21 million in a Series C funding in July 2020. Well, Sweden-based free-to-play gaming studio Stillfront Group has acquired the maker of Teen Patti Gold and Ludo Club, Moonfrog Labs, for $90 million. Now, this acquisition of Moonfrog will help Stillfront expand footprint to the Indian subcontinent, which is one of the fastest-growing mobile game markets in the world.
Well, moving on to our second segment, we have with us a very special guest, somebody who has been in the real estate space and has been making waves in the online world. I have with me Mr. Sudhir Pai from Magic Bricks. Thank you very much for joining us today on the Daily Dispatch. I want to begin by asking you how the last year has been, because the real estate sector has been one sector that has been facing a lot of challenges, especially when the lockdown hits the country. What has been your experience over the last couple of months at Magic Bricks?
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me, Priya. Really glad to be part of your program. I'll answer your question in two parts. You asked me what's happening on real estate and also what's happening within Magic Bricks. So for the industry, speaking of the industry, a bit of context. I think 2015 onwards, the industry has faced a bit of a rough time. Sales and launches of new homes have fallen off the previous peaks. A lot of new regulation came in, and while the regulation was much needed, I think in the short term it did have an adverse effect on the industry. But towards end of 2019 onwards, I think we saw a lot of tailwinds gathering, right? So whether they were SOPs for affordable homes, whether they were the cheap interest rates, or the various tax breaks which are available, or the favorable income to price ratio, it looked like real estate is going to take off, right? And then COVID happened. Right? So I think the period of the lockdown and the immediate aftermath of that was like the shock laga period. I think the industry experienced a steep drop in sales and new launches. I think something between 80 to 90% drop during that period. But what took a lot of people by surprise was what happened thereafter. Right? I think as a portal, we were one of the first to call out that we are seeing a surge in consumer searches, and in turn, it would lead to better transactions a few months later. And I think that played out in the industry. So if you look at Q3 numbers that have now come out, I think sales as well as launches are now close to pre-COVID levels. And I think by the end of quarter 4, the industry will be back on its feet.
You know, when you talk about the last couple of months, considering that work from home has become a very crucial part of people's lives now, there have been a lot of reports suggesting that people are looking for bigger houses, considering that they cannot work in a smaller space. So in terms of overall listings, in terms of overall searches, if you could give us some numbers on how Magic Bricks has performed in this period.
So you're right. I mean, first things first, I mean, I think during the lockdown, numbers fell a bit, but immediately after the lockdown, what we saw was searches increasing by as much as 40%. I think more people were at home, and what they would have done offline, they started doing online. More buyers entered the market. And you're right. So in terms of differences in trend, what we noticed was searches for bigger homes went up. More searches happened on the peripherals or outskirts of the city and in small towns, probably because people had relocated there. Plus, probably because peripheral areas, are cheaper, so you can actually buy a slightly bigger home in the same budget. So these were the trends, and I think some of these will play out as long-term trends as well. So search for bigger homes, more action on the peripheries of a city, small towns, particularly tier 2 and 3 markets doing really well. I think these came out as emergent trends. So in many ways, I think COVID helped accelerate the move to online a lot more than anything else would have done.
You recently came out with an index, the prop index, which said that average prices have gone up by 1% in the October to December quarter. So run us through what kind of trajectory are you seeing in the overall prices as we enter 2021?
So look, 1% is not a big rise in prices as such. But I think the important point is, despite the COVID shock, the markets did not crater. Right. So there were a fair bit of cynics and naysayers who felt that prices would crash because there would be no demand and things like that. I think that did not happen. The fact that prices stabilized, in fact, they're firming up a bit even by 1%, I think is a good signal that the market is finding its feet again. But in terms of outlook as we go ahead, look, I think what's more important for the industry rather than prices rising is actually sales going back up again. Right. Even now, in 2021, we are not at the same volumes that we were in 2014, right? And the number of homes getting sold in the country, even at 300,000 units a year, are not too many. So I think the priority for the industry would be actually to get transaction volumes up. And I think it helps the industry if prices were to remain stable, homes remain more affordable, so that volumes went up. So I think we'd rather hope that prices don't go up sharply, because if they did that, I think the end user would be pushed out of the market again.
But are we back to pre-COVID levels in terms of volume, sales volume?
Yes. I think sales are more or less back at pre-COVID levels. I think new launches are still about 15% behind. But by the time we end Q4, hopefully both will be maybe a shade ahead of pre-COVID levels.
And of course, the government has given lots of incentives, like the stamp duty advantage, which really pushed buyers to go out there in the market and go and buy houses.
That's right.
But, I want to also talk to you about how players over the last couple of months have sort of diversified their business models. They've come up with services that they never thought that they would really, sort of offer before COVID. And I think Magic Bricks has been one platform where you introduced the whole range of services, right from rent payments to, home insecticide treatment issues. So run us through how these new services are doing for Magic Bricks. And in terms of the initial response, run us through what's been the response for these.
So a bit of context. I mean, we've been a discovery platform for a long time. And by discovery platform, what I mean is we are a place where buyers and sellers meet, they find each other. Properties are listed, buyers come and search for properties, and if they like a certain property, they connect with the seller. And while discovery is an important part of the entire buying cycle, if you see it from a consumer lens, it's probably 20% of the effort that a consumer puts in the process of buying a house, right? And while this is an important 20%, the other 80% really was offline. So one of the things that we wanted to do was to make a larger impact on the entire buying cycle and remove some of the friction elements that are there in the post-discovery phase and make it easy for the consumer. That's the context for why we decided to leapfrog from being only a discovery platform into being what we internally call as a full stack offering. Now, in terms of your question of what's doing well and what's not, I think we've seen a few services take off quite sharply. So things like, I think, rent pay, home loans, making rental agreements. I think these have seen pretty swift market adoption. We are seeing good volumes, week on week growth, and I think these will become quite large within a few months. There are also a lot of new services that we have put which are new to market, right? Which I think will require a fair bit of consumer education. So things like number of legal services, things like property inspections. I think the market's not familiar with property inspections. It's a great service, right? And especially if you're buying something as substantial as a house, it makes sense to invest a few thousand rupees and get it professionally inspected, right? So, but some of those services the market is not familiar with. I think we'll have to invest in educating the market and building volumes around them. So, in some sense, I think mixed signals. Something that we were anticipating. Some services have found easy adoption. Some will take a bit of push.
What's more on the anvil in terms of more services? Are you looking at adding more services to this stack that's already there?
Yes, we will. But I think for now, we have about 12, 13 services. We have quite a bundle. I think the immediate priority is to get these all of these services and not just a select handful off the block and make them meaningful. But clearly, I mean, what we would want to do is that any service that is required to make a transaction happen, and even some services which are post-transaction, we would want them available on the platform. So yes, we'll need to add another 4 or 5 more.
All right, we'll wait and watch for that. But I just can't let you go without asking you one question on the corporate side in terms of office and warehousing space. What has been your experience? Because with work from home happening, office spaces are being given up, warehouses are being, identified in different parts of the country. What is your view on the whole corporate scenario?
So if you look at, so there are 2 parts of what you asked, right? One is what's happening on warehousing, and second, what's happening on commercial real estate. So commercial real estate really has 2 parts. There's the corporate part of it, which is grade A offices and the likes, which is used by larger companies. And then there is the SME component of commercial, which is shops and small offices, etc. Now, if you look at the grade A large office space, I think we haven't seen too much impact there, right? So most companies, I think, to the extent they could, they negotiated some waivers during the lockdown period, but otherwise they have largely retained their offices. We see only a small part of that where they have let go offices or shrunk office space. And increasingly, we are hearing from the market that fresh supply is being absorbed. So I think that part of the market is quite stable and should do well. SME market was affected quite a bit during this period. So we saw vacancies go up, a number of to-let boards appearing all over the city. In Bangalore, if you go around, you'll see a lot of them. I think that part of the market will still take several months before it bounces back. Warehousing spaces, the business is doing really well, right? I think there's a lot of demand for warehouses coming up. And with the single GST policy, it makes sense to locate your warehouses closer to where demand is. So unlike the past where warehouses used to be densely clustered in some pockets, today we are seeing them come up all over the country and a lot of new players in that space. So I think that space will see a lot of action for the next several years.
All right, Mr. Pai, many thanks for joining us today. And it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for all the updates. And we look forward to all the new services that you plan to launch in the coming year. With that, thank you so much for joining us on Daily Dispatch.
Well, time now to say goodbye. Many thanks for tuning in. Join us tomorrow at 5 p.m. Goodbye and see you tomorrow.